consistent.
It's just another year. You knew the disrespect by your elected puppeteers, but let me show you how to persevere.
All right, y'all, we back. It's your boy Jay DeCosta.
It's your girl Cat.
And together we are
the
Nitty Gritty. If you're watching, please let us know if you can hear us in the comments. You left the door open, but it's fine. Yeah, let us know if you can hear us in the comments. I had to fix my mic for some reason. This HyperX mic was not linked on. Thought I did all my testing. You know, real ones mess up sometimes too, you feel me? But, you know, if you were watching, hopefully you got the new link and you back. All right. Yeah, Out of Control Bullies can hear us. Shout out. Clarksville, Tennessee in the building. We got Brent watching, my favorite realtor, in the building. Let me drop a air horn for you, sir, real quick. My favorite Kappa. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're in a list of favorite Kappas. I got a couple of Kappas I like.
Well, first, before we move on, I want to say Happy Founders Day.
Okay, I had it in my shout outs, but I'll take it. I'll take it. You know what I'm saying?
Happy Founders Day to the
116 years of distinction. Let's go.
Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. It was a very ice cold December 4th day.
That's right. It was a little cold today, but it was bearable. But you know, when you're standing around me, it gets chilly. So, you know, yeah, we'll take it. We'll take it. All right, but everybody hears us. I get a lot of thumbs up in the comments. Thank you. We ready to rock and roll. Today's episode, because I'm going to erase the old stuff, so we're going to kind of repeat some quick things I said at the beginning. But it does seem like dating is a chore these days. It seems hard. I know you're like, oh man, y'all talking relationships again? Yeah, we're talking relationships again. Because it seems like people are having a hard time with relationships. So I had found a clip through Jadena.
Okay.
And I didn't think to find amazing relationship advice through Jadena of all people, right?
Right.
But what he said was on point. So I'm like, you know what? Let's talk about that on the Nitty Gritty Show.
For those who don't know, Jadena, that's the guy that sings, I'm a
classic man. Me, I'm a classic man. Yeah, you know. A bop. His album 85 South to Africa was dope too. Like it had a bunch of dope tracks on there. So yeah, if you're not familiar, Jadena's dope. But he dropped some jewels.
He did.
We're gonna talk about jewels. You see what I did there? He dropped some jewels, so we're going to share those on the Nitty Gritty Show. But before we get there, we got to shout out our sponsor. Shout out to Plug-In Customz. Been holding it down for us for the rest of the year. I need to renew that going into January. But anyways, Plug-In Customz holding us down. If you're in the area, 202-351-7348. You got a dent on the side of your car? Plug-In Customz. Hey, your tent need to be done? Plug-In Customz. You need to get your brakes fixed. You need to get your oil changed. Or maybe you just want to do a chrome delete, a wrap job around your car. So, because if you paint it, you got to take it to the DMV and change the color according to your registration. Okay. But if you get a wrap, you don't have to, because technically the true paint of the car is under the wrap. So you need to get a wrap done to your car, go holler at Plug-in Customz. They're located here in the DMV area at 4910 Buchanan Street. If you want to find them on IG or Facebook, it's plugged_in_customz with a Z. Holler at them. They do great work there. And by the way, it's a black-owned business. But they do good business, most importantly. But they just so happen to also be black-owned. So support them, brothers. They do a great job. Oh, we got Nicole in the building. Drop a bomb for you, boo. What's up? Nicole was just kicking it with us last night. We went out there to, and I'll shout them out even though they don't sponsor us.
No.
But we was at,
Parking 14.
We was at Parking 14th. If y'all don't know, it's a great restaurant. Amazing food. By the way, they're also a black business. Don't go there because they're a black business. Go there because the mac and wings are amazing. Go there because the bread pudding is amazing. Go there because the lamb chops are amazing. And then also, by the way, they're a black-owned business. All right, but they do good business, so you should support. And you'll enjoy yourself. And they got great customer service. The manager actually talked to us. Not the manager, the owner. Sorry, step above. The owner actually talked to us, had a good conversation with him. So if you've never been to DC and you come in town, go to Park at 14th. It's a vibe. They got live DJs there. So if you don't want to be in the club, but you want to, you know what I'm saying? Go to Park at 14th. They do good business. And by the way, they're a black business. All right. So moving along. Current news. So if you guys have been following politics, you know that the runoff election is coming, I believe, on Tuesday for Georgia Senator for Herschel Walker and Raphael Warnock. If you're in the Georgia area, I can't tell you how to vote, but I think Raphael Warnock might be a good look for y'all for senator. Herschel Walker, I appreciate his work ethic on the field. He's in amazing shape. 1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day. I think he's a cool man. I just don't know if he's the man for the job of senator. That's all.
I don't think he has proven to be versed enough in politics or to do his due diligence in getting the education needed to be ready to serve in that capacity. Yeah, I don't think... Now, if he wants to go coach, at Jackson State, that might be a good look because, they need somebody right now. But, senator for Georgia. I mean, for Georgians, if y'all want to take that risk, go ahead. But I don't know if that'd be the well-advised thing to do. Speaking of football, shout out to Deion Sanders. Maybe people don't like me saying shout out to. But anyways, Deion Sanders is leaving Jackson State University. He's going to the University of Colorado. He's been offered the head coaching job there. And as he said, his words, in this job of his, you either get elevated or you get fired. That's what Deion said. And Deion, prime time, has been telling y'all since 91, I'm all about my money. He always been about his chips. So you do well somewhere, it's natural that you elevate. Now, I understand that some people are, a little bit despondent about it because I think a lot of people thought that him being there could change programs at HBCUs, period. We saw that the top recruits out of high school committed back in January to Jackson State because of what Deion Sanders was doing there. Shout out to Kevin Coleman and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was a 5-star cornerback, and then you got a 4-star receiver in Kevin Coleman. They enrolled at Jackson State. Now, keep in mind, these were top recruits. They could have easily gone to Alabama, your Ohio State, or the Ohio State. Y'all got y'all butt whooped by Michigan, though. But we're in the playoffs, so it don't matter.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
Yeah. Hey, y'all made it. You made it.
And that means
the end result matters.
That's all that matters.
And them jokers go to the NFL. So they could have played for the Ohio State University. They could have played anywhere. They specifically went to Jackson because of what Deion was doing there. So I understand that some people feel like, maybe he didn't understand the mission. But keep in mind, sometimes understanding the mission, I get it. Some people are going to have to hold it down, right? But at the same time, we're not going to act like we don't live in capitalist America. Money does matter here. So if you're going to make money or if the job is securing your family financially, you got to sometimes works for you as an individual. I had a mentor of mine who happens to be Jewish. Don't cancel me because I said he's Jewish. But I won't mention his name, but we were having a conversation about rights and marching. You know, some of this stuff was going on with various protests in the city. And he told me, Juan, he's like, I think it's great that you love your community, you want to protest. But he was like, there's nothing wrong with making money. He's like, listen, if you make a bunch of money, what's more powerful than you marching up and down the street is you writing a check to the causes you care about. Because he's like, you writing a $50,000 check is going to do more than you holding a picket sign walking up and down D.C. And at first I was like, man, does he not get it? I'm upset. They done killed another black man. But then I thought about it, like, you know what? Money controls elections. The Koch brothers have been controlling Republican nominations for years. And they never ran for a single office, but they want that PAC money. So, you know what? Shout out to him for what he said about that money, because sometimes that money do matter. I know some people say, oh, that's cold. Where's your heart at? You know what? Money talk. Y'all know the rest of it. It walks, right? I see we got some comments. Shout out to some of our big followers out there. Shout out to Brent. He had made a comment. That's right, Katrina. Ohio State made it. And the result matters. All right, I'm going to give it to you. Shout out to Out of Control Bully said, just a plus, in an interview where he addressing his new team and letting them know that he's bringing 10 plus people, including his son. I think I read that right. Autocorrect, I know, messed up that whole statement.
He's taking players from Jackson State to...
Well, he know his son was the quarterback there.
So but isn't that bad? Like that he's taking players from Jackson State.
I mean, they can go where they want to go.
Colorado.
I don't know the rules, the legalities around that. But my thing is, you know, I mean, he's on a booster program where he goes. At the end of the day, if he doesn't do a good job at Colorado, they're gonna fire him. First chance they get, they're gonna fire him. So I guess if people want to follow you because they like you as a person, it's no different in jobs. I done seen people leave companies like Verizon and T-Mobile and stuff. And
I don't have a problem with him leaving, and I know people do follow folks, but I think about HBCUs when I look at Howard and how funding and support sometimes is a huge issue there. I'm just wondering how can this impact Jackson State? Probably in a very monumental way.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to them now because I know Dion was a huge draw. I'm hoping that maybe some of the stuff he set in place will continue on. But, I mean, that's big news. It's a lot of people are talking about it. I couldn't ignore it on our current events today. Thank you for bringing it up. So we put it on the current events. But, you know, kind of a big deal. So we'll be watching that closely. But I'm hoping that HBCUs will continue to get good looks. Some like I remember Master P was at TSU. Shout out to the Tigers, the real TSU. But one of the issues they had was he didn't like the facilities. They weren't to the same level of the facilities that he could go to at Alabama or Ohio State or, you know, University of Tennessee. But the thing is, you knew going there that this school was in need of help. The idea of you bringing your son there is to help elevate them. So I think sometimes this, I guess, depending on what your moral compass is and what your moral compass and what your North Star is, that's going to decide whether or not you stay with the program and help elevate it, or if you're going to leave. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Me, I'm just telling y'all where Juan is at. I'm trying to get the paper. Give me the money. All right? I'm all about that ching, ching, dollar bill, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Give me the money. I think I want to write a check. Okay? I think I'm going to write a check. That's just where I'm at now in life. I think I want to try to get some money, and I want to write a check. But anyways, let's get down to the nitty gritty. We struggle streamed a little bit earlier today. So we're back on the right track. As we were talking about earlier, we were talking about relationships, right? And we saw a clip for Jadena, and I was surprised to see him drop so many jewels. And I was like, you know what? Let's talk about this nitty gritty show. He doesn't really break it down, but he lists them. So what I did is I took the list, and what we're gonna do is break down the list. But basically, he started off by saying these were principles that he's collected over his life. He actually collected a lot of them from the Islam faith. I wish I could point out which of them came from the Islamic faith. You might be able to somewhat guess. But I thought he brought up some key things. And the crazy thing is me and Katrina looked at the list and we was like, you know what? We feel kind of good about ourselves because we were looking through, it's like we actually kind of went by that list.
Okay.
You know? And I was like, wow, this is good. And I think when we break the list down, we'll see how it makes sense. So definitely join in on this conversation like you guys have been. I want to hear from you as we talk because this is a dialogue on the Nitty Gritty Show. But let's break it down. He calls it 12 things. It's really like 13. depending on how you list the numbers. But here are some things you should do before committing. So right now is a good time. You know somebody that's single. You know somebody out here complaining about relationships. Ain't none of these dudes no good. Can't find a good woman. Can't find a good man. Tell them to click onto the Nitty Gritty show right now, because I think we have some things to help them through. Because it's cuffing season right now, and some of y'all still ain't cuffing. But before you commit to the cuff, here's some things to consider. All right, so starting with the first one, and then in no particular order of importance, but just gonna run down the list. So the first one is travel with them.
Travel with them. Okay.
I think travel is important.
I think that when dating, and you're going to travel with someone, I think you should have exclusivity if you're going to travel with that person. Because we've seen too many situations where they date and they travel, and the man is expecting the booty, and the girl's not giving up the booty, and it becomes a whole debacle. So I think that it's better if you're going to travel with your significant other, be in a actual committed relationship.
And fellas, don't be just trying to fly them out and travel. Like, no, we're talking about traveling with someone that you like and you want to commit to. Like, seriously commit to, like marry, right? You should travel with them, right? And you can travel as friends. You don't have to travel as lovers.
That's true, right?
Yeah, but traveling with someone does give you some insight on the individual.
And then if you are traveling as friends, there's nothing wrong with you getting a room and they getting a room or whatever. Do whatever is comfortable for you. But our first time traveling, we did a cruise together.
That's right.
And it was my very first time on a cruise. So not only did I travel with Juan and get a chance to see him in a different light, but I was able to gain a new experience.
I would say it's because of that cruise. I think that's why we truly fell in love too.
Yeah.
Can you remember you hurt your foot?
I did, yeah.
You broke 3 metatarsal bones?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's a wild story in itself. So
another time for another day.
Another time for another day. But anyways, y'all be careful on those motorcycles and those motor operated vehicles when y'all travel. I'll say that much. But when you get a chance to care for someone, it kind of gives you an idea how that person might be in a relationship. So I'll throw that out there. The next one is work with them on a project. This one really stuck out to me.
I know it did.
I mean, because once again, if I'm just sharing our story, it's part of the reason why we're here today. Early in our relationship, we started doing the Nitty Gritty show, right? And that was a project. And what that time gave to me was to see if Katrina's going to be a selfless portion. I saw she was willing to invest financially. She was willing to give of her time. Help getting people on the show. This is back when we was at Listen Vision back in the day. So we were actually in the studio across the street from Howard University. And you had such a commitment in those early stages. And it made me feel like if I was to work on greater projects with you, there's a certain level of commitment and trust I would have if we embark on that journey together. And I guess, well, I'm not going to say what you feel about me, but you can share if you want to.
No, I thought it was great because I saw he was passionate about it. He naturally led a lot of the logistics and the conversations. And then I also feel like Juan, this was something that we could relate on, right? I feel like we had different experiences as related to the community, but we were able to relate on just our fundamental, like growing up, like a lot of our viewpoints and our morals just aligned.
Yeah.
So even though we weren't like exclusive, the fact that he had opinions about certain topics that align with what I felt, I was like, okay, well, it's not going to be a huge, red flag if we were to get together because we pretty much agree on a lot of things. So
yeah. And it wasn't like I forced you have to agree with me. It was just because of how we were raised, and we're going to get to that here in the list. Just some of those precepts at the very foundation of who we are and who our parents were and what they instilled in us. There was just an alignment there that made things very easy at the start. So definitely that. So I think that's important.
Number 3.
And feel free to chime in at any time. If you guys want to say something about one of these points or you have a thought, go ahead. Nate said traveling is therapeutic, and you best believe it is. And it can be, but if you travel with the wrong person,
it can be a nightmare.
I've been there before.
Absolute nightmare.
Oh no!
I have been in travel situations where it's like, oh my God, get me out of here.
Yeah, you're like, this trip can't be oh my God, we got till Wednesday. Oh yeah, I've been there before. So yeah, travel with the right person. But at least before you seriously commit, if you had a chance to travel with them, you get the red flag in advance, and you know what? This probably ain't gonna work. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong, folks, with saying this is not my person. This is not I'm not their person, right?
That's what the list is supposed to do.
Yeah, this is not to force you together. This is to make it clear, just to be honest about, you know what? This might not be the best look for me. Mm-hmm. Or, you know what? I realize it's not you, it's me. I'm not the best look for you. However you got to word it. But this should be a good way to say, you know what? And there's red flags, there's yellow flags, there's green flags. Green flags go. Yellow flags, maybe this is something that I'm willing to work on with mm-hmm. you. Right? I'll be transparent about one of ours. But when me and Katrina got together, because I've already been married before, already had children, I was like, I ain't having no more kids. Matter of fact, I had an appointment mm-hmm. to get snipped.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I'm not doing kids. Yeah. Child support. Brother broke. I'm eating ramen.
And I said it was a deal breaker for me.
And she was like, it's a deal breaker, right? And respectfully so. She's like, you know, I definitely want kids. Like, I don't have any, you know. And I thought about it. I thought about all the pluses that I felt like Katrina would bring to my life in a more serious relationship. So we was able to compromise on that yellow flag. And then some things are red. You know, someone is beating on you, cheating. Everybody has different red flags. You might be like, you know what? Nah, you do that. Oh, you don't wipe your behind properly. You're not willing to try to wipe your behind properly. Red flag.
That would have been a red flag. Or,
you know what I'm saying?
Or if you didn't want to brush your teeth. Or if you, let's say, were sloppy drunk and you smell like alcohol. Or if you smoke cigarettes, all would have been like deal breakers for me.
Yes, and there's nothing wrong. Any deal breaker you
I'm
have.
like, adios, hasta la vista, baby.
But hold up. They talking about he needs some more nephews. Hey, relax, brother, relax. Y'all relax. Herman said we travel good together. Thank you. You've been able to. My father's been able to just watch our lives together and see some of our journeys. Those that know us personally know we've traveled quite a few places together. And I think we have a good time. We like some of the same nerdy things when we travel. So it works.
Well, I don't want to go off topic, but I will say this. When I travel, I love history. And Juan thinks that makes me a nerd. So whatever.
But I'm already in one too. So
I love seeing artifacts and hearing the stories. Yeah.
Yeah, she get all up into it. Next one, right? So we said travel with them, work with them on the project. The third one, have them observe you doing something great. Mm-hmm. All right? Okay. And then the next one, we'll just talk about them at the same time. Observe them doing something great. Now, this stuck out to me.
Okay.
Like, so by the time Jadena gets to this one on the list, I'm like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I like where you're going with this.
Okay.
This ain't just, you know, what's your favorite color? What's your zodiac sign?
This is good advice.
This seems kind of solid right now.
Okay.
What I liked about it is, and you'll see this in relationships. I don't care if it's an old relationship. It could be a young relationship. Shoot, not even just relationships. This could just be friendships. Co-workers. It's important that if you're going to be significantly tied to someone, you need to see how they act when it's your turn to be celebrated. When you're the center of attention. When their role there is not to interject themselves, but to shut up and enjoy you. Right? And even if people try to like put attention on you, maybe you might be known outside of that area. It's to say, hey, but you know what? Tonight's about her. Mm-hmm. Tonight's about him. And that's why the other half of the advice is observe them doing something great. Because it has to go both ways. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to celebrate your partner. And your partner equally needs to be able to celebrate you. And you need to feel celebrated. There's nothing worse than winning an award or making an accomplishment and the person there with you who's supposed to be by your side cheering you on is low-key hating on you. Mm. And it happens, unfortunately. Or they can't stand you getting attention, so they got to talk about them. We're not talking about you right now. Like, for instance, somebody could be a preacher. And then you've seen this at some churches. The first lady's got to get up and start doing their thing. I need to get whatchamacallits on there. I'm getting spammed. I got to find a way to block them. Sorry. This is why you need moderators. Because moderators, what you do is you put the user in timeout,
You can make your mom and dad a moderator.
Yeah, you know what? And that's what we need to do. We need to start super chats here so I can have moderators. So when I get people like this Sex Fine XYZ that just jumped on the page talking about finding singles, we trying to help y'all date. They trying to get you to spend some money on something that could get you locked up.
We got a comment from Diamond Cougar 1. She said, I traveled with someone I was dating and I made it clear no cookie would be given. And if you don't want me to go, that's fine. So,
hey, look, amen to that. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with setting the boundaries. You set them before you go. Hey, look, this ain't... If you want to get to know me better and you willing to spend the money for us to travel, that's cool. But understand, you ain't buying no cookie. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And when Juan talks about observing someone doing something great, so Juan has been really successful in his sales job. So he won an award and he took me down in Orlando. And it was a really nice event. They had nice food and games. And I was just like, I'm here celebrating Juan. My man did the daggone thing, okay? He out here from DC. I'm like, I'm here celebrating my man. They're like, oh, why are you here? Oh, I'm celebrating Juan, okay? I made it very clear. It wasn't about me. We here to celebrate Boo. And I think it made him feel good.
It did. And then vice versa. Katrina had won a Women in STEM award a few years back. And we were able to go to that dinner and celebrate her. And it wasn't about, oh, well, what does Juan do? Or it's not, that wasn't a time for me to interject myself. Oh, well, by the way, this is what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Because, she ain't the only one. I make, no, it doesn't matter if she isn't the only one or not. We know what it is. But in that moment, they're trying to celebrate my wife being a black woman in STEM. And that's what we were doing. And I think so many couples, and this is not to put us on the pedestal, trust me. We see a therapist just to make sure we keep stuff right. But it's important that you can celebrate the person you're with. You got to be able to celebrate your person. And sometimes you have to know how to digress, how to relax when the person you're with is being celebrated. It's okay not to be the center of attention sometimes, folks. Let the other person have it. Some men, there's men out there that will actually keep their wives from succeeding, don't want them to work because they want to belittle them. A strong man could allow his wife to have a great thing, to do something well. You don't have to say, oh, so-and-so cooked this really well. Well, she wouldn't have cooked it if I didn't pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is so funny.
She using my recipe. You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't people, she used your recipe, but she executed it great. So just let her have it.
Or even there's some women who they can't let their man go out there and shine. Like, at the end of the day, if your man is doing something amazing, give him his flowers.
Yeah.
If some other woman or man is celebrating them, you better stand back and be like, that's right. That's right. That's an extension of you. If somebody were to come and be like, man, that Juan can really, really speak well, I'm like, you are absolutely right. He can.
And there's nothing wrong with just celebrating somebody and letting them have their moment.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is an important thing because we don't really talk about this. We talk about looks. We talk about finances. We talk about all these different things. Are they in church, not in church? But character matters.
I think your ego shouldn't be so big that you have the inability to allow someone else to take first place or to take center stage. Mm-hmm. And if you are feeling like, man, I'm feeling left out, I gotta be seen, you need to do some internal work because it's likely that you are insecure.
And that's why the work says observe them doing something great and let them observe you doing something great. Be cognitive of your own feelings. If you realize, like you're saying, that, dang, why do I feel like I have to compete with them? What's wrong with me that I'm doing that? Then you can look in the mirror and say, I need to check myself.
Yeah.
Because why do I feel like I need to compete with my partner? Brent and Herman saying character matters. Brent also saying there it is, ego. Well said. So yeah, you have to check that. So I thought that was like, wow, that was thoughtful.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this next one you've heard probably before, right?
But I feel like this next one is going to be interesting because, well, you go ahead. Just go ahead.
So the next one, and it's the next two, but they kind of work together, right?
Okay.
Meet their friends, have them meet your friends. Now, everybody's always heard, two peas in a pod. We've always heard birds of a feather flock together, right? And there's some truth to that. It's not always a defining truth because people grow, people can mature, right? Some people have an opportunity to outgrow their friends, or you might be that particular friend. You don't know where you're at, but being around people's friends and seeing how they interact is very telling of that individual. Are you good to your friends?
Yeah.
Do you allow people to be good to you? Do you set boundaries with friends? Because then when you get married, now everybody comes to the wedding, they hear you say, forsaking all others. They hear you say, for better or for worse, for richer or for poor. Ladies, you can't have your friends in your ear talking about, girl, if I was financially going through that, I'll leave them. But you was at my wedding, boo-boo, when we said for richer or for poor. Fellas, you can't be like, through sickness and through health. So when the wife gains a little bit of weight, or somebody's sick, right? No, you committed before everyone through sickness and through health. That you better love her. You see what I'm saying? But being around those friends, getting the idea of how your mate communicate with others, how others view your mate, I think is important. So you have to get around their friends, and they have to come around your friends. And I think it personally, what I have found, I think it's a red flag when they barely have any friends. Or they don't have any lasting relationships. Now, as you get older, especially men, we get to a point where our circles get smaller. But I have men since high school and college I can call on to this day. Shout out to my man Jason Carver. Shout out to my man Jerome Scott. These brothers have been through thick and thin with me. They've seen me at my lowest, and they've celebrated my highs. They've encouraged my lows and celebrated my highs. And vice versa, I've been able to do the same for them. So they're still in my life. Now, I have a large circle of people I interact with, but I have some people I can call a true friend. There's some family members that are just strong family. No matter what you go through, you know they got your back. So seeing those friends, like, why are you letting all these toxic people around you? Or, I don't think they appreciate your friendship. Friendship, I think, is important in being able to see that. Any thoughts, Bill?
Friends can influence. Friends can encourage. Friends can hinder. So I think picking your friends is important as you start to cultivate a relationship, because some friendships grow with your relationships and some, that's where it stops. The moment you decide to become committed to someone. And
that's important to view. And sometimes, once again, being cognitive of how are my friends acting when they see you elevating. Especially within women, that can be a thing. There's so many stories you see on Facebook, IG, these wedding stories where a woman gets married and the friends start hating, right? Now, some friends generally are concerned, like, hey, I'm not sure about that girl. Like, he gives me a feeling. And they generally feel that way. Some are like, I don't want you to leave me behind. I'm going to be in a single club by myself.
I can honestly say, I don't think any of my friends hated on me getting married. I actually think that they were happy for me. I can honestly say that they were happy. Everybody that came to Customz, I think, genuinely wanted to be there and wanted us to be married.
Yeah, if you was at Customz, for sure. So. I already know, you A1 day one. You know what I'm saying? There were some other people that were supposed to be at Customz. You on the chat right now. I ain't going to call you out by name, but I'm related to you. Twins. But, I understand y'all had stuff going on. People were buying houses and stuff like that. So, you
y'all
get past.
Missed the time.
But you missed some good time.
You missed the time because we had a time. It will go down in the history books. Okay? All right.
Yeah, y'all missed out on that one. You know what I'm saying? Don't mix the next couple trip that we take out of town. All right? Because I'm just saying, that's gonna be top, part 2. I'm just saying, and it's coming to a June near you, and we're gonna be probably figuring out the destination soon. So y'all keep watching for that. But yeah, so you definitely need to meet them friends. They need to meet your friends. We got some good comments. Brent said that friend thing is important. I used to date a woman where I would ask, "Why do you hang around this friend?" Or "Why do you?" Oh, okay, sorry. Message retracted. Okay. And then Out of Control Bully said, "Laugh a lot. I know I rub it in. The entire situation was crazy." Yeah. Herman says, friendships are important for sure. As I have got older, my circle has got really small, for real. But you keep those close friends are everlasting, right? So it's not about quantity, but quality does matter. So meet the friends. And we got time. We're going to run over a little after 9. That's fine, guys, because we were struggle streaming at first. But we got it fixed. Okay. We got it fixed. Next one is, this one really caught my attention. I'm like, this is good. This is good. Observe them in a crisis moment. Have them observe you in a crisis moment. when you think about why people end up going to therapy, when people hit these cruxes in their relationship, it's sometimes because people have different methodologies on how to handle stress and how to handle issues. So, this is a little sidebar for the women watching. Men don't necessarily ghost women because they're dogs. I repeat, men don't necessarily ghost women because they're dogs. Sometimes men don't want to argue with you about a problem they have with your character. I have, in so many circles around other men, bros, co-workers, fellow military members, you name it, they'll be like, man, Shorty went through this and she was flipping out. She was talking to her sister crazy, her mother crazy. I didn't like the way she was handling it. And I'm like, I don't want to be tied to that. If that's how she's going to deal with stress, I can do all bad by myself. You know, men say that too. I can do bad by myself. They watch the way, when you get fired from, well, hopefully you don't get fired from a job, but God forbid you get fired from a job, the loss of a loved one, how you grieve. And there's no one way to tell somebody how to grieve. Also, the significance of a relationship matters. But if they're able to see this or get some kind of idea of this before marriage, because some people go into these deep depressions and never come out. There's only so much time reasonably with humans that can go by before you're like, okay, I get it. So-and-so died, but it's been 15 years. And we're still not having sex. These are real things that come up, guys. It's been 5 months when the dog died, and we still can't go to the movies. It's been 6 months since this happened, and you're still complaining about that. It's been a year since some people treated you bad at your old job, but you add a new one. Why are we still talking about it? So observing someone in a crisis moment and then allowing them to observe you. Are you going to sit around and start breaking everything in the house? You going to start throwing chairs? Are you willing to go get therapy because something you do is very toxic? When you go through stuff, you don't handle it very well. We need to better deal with that. These are things you need to consider, folks, before you commit to someone. Try to see them in a crisis moment. Because see, that pretty paint wear off fast. All that sexual attention or eros and love and Romeo and Juliet stuff, all the walking on the beach and walking at night, holding hands, that go out the window once you see them in a crisis moment. You be like, oh man, that finish wore off real quick. You don't look that attractive anymore, brother. Sister. So yeah, observing the crisis moment. Any thoughts of that, Katrina?
No, I think you said it all. I mean,
I said it all.
I think when you observe somebody in a crisis moment, you know.
You know what you're getting into.
I was going to say, you know if that person is for you. Like, can I handle this? And then I also think, too, even if they acted out of character, acted poorly, where you're unsure, I think the follow-up of how they plan to do better after you've pointed out to them, yo, I didn't really care for that. Should you decide to have that conversation, it's equally important because it might be that person has toxic ways and no one communicated it to them, but you might be the first person to communicate to them. So if they decide to say, you know what, thank you so much for telling me I do want to be better at this, and they make steps to get better, I don't think that's necessarily a true red flag. That might be a yellow flag.
Yeah. Might be a yellow flag. Shout out to Brent. He said that character thing. Wow, never thought of it that way. So true. Let's see. Herman said, no, I read that one before. Herman said observation definitely necessary.
And Brent said, right? When I was single, I used to fall in love quick and then fall in love even quicker.
Man, what? It happens?
Yeah, because you start to see some, and I think that's why when you're dating, it's so important to have real conversations, not surface level, real conversations. Yep. You know, if you're going on a date and it's like, what's your favorite color? You know, how old are you? What do you do for work? That's surface.
Or let's keep it real raw, worried about sexual positions.
Or how many parties you had. That doesn't matter. You need to talk about real stuff. What is your credit score? What is your vision in 5 years? You know, what are some traits about your family that you've noticed that you don't like, that you want to change, that you don't want in your kids to have? Yeah. Like, real stuff.
Yeah, substance. Substance. You need substance. The next one, so we talked about friends, but family is just as important.
Listen.
Right? You need to meet their family, and you need to have them meet your family. Before you commit, you need to meet them families. Because...
you turn around and say, you know what?
You need to be
good.
Y'all
I'm absolutely good.
Y'all need to meet them families.
But I thank God. I thank the good Lord that my husband and I, that we grew up very similar.
We grew up very similar.
So
very
that the things that we laugh about, we can relate to. Because I'm pretty sure if you ain't grow up in a very similar environment like us, you wouldn't understand certain things.
Yeah, like it would just be like, I just don't get what's going on, right? I had strict parents. She had strict parents. We both grew up Christian. We both had an international presence in our family because, you know, my dad is Jamaican by blood, but spent his formative years in England. Your mom is Jamaican. So there were some things that we naturally understood. But you got to meet them families, right? Because some stuff may not be your type of Kool-Aid of crazy, right? It may not be your flavor, and you may not be wanting to deal with that. Also, certain mythologies of families and certain characters and principles in families, that matters. So when you're going through crisis, and once again, it goes back to the friends thing, even boundaries, right? Can you create healthy boundaries with your parents? Your parents don't need to be all up in your business.
Well,
all right?
that's
Parents, no, you don't need to be all up in your children's business, right? Let them
boundaries are so important.
And getting an idea of like, okay, I see we're going to have to create significant boundaries with this parent, right? I see this parent is just laid back. They don't care. But yeah, you can laugh at it, you know, when you have a healthy mindset towards that is. But you need to understand, what is that dynamic going to look like? Also, in certain cultures, they feel like, no, we're going to be involved every step of the way. We didn't bought your house, so we get to run through that house telling you what to do.
I might even go lie to y'all. I might even gonna hold you. That's a little saying that we say, young folks.
I ain't gonna hold you.
When Juan was dating me, every time he met somebody, there would be people that would be like, "Have you met? Have you met?
Oh man,
have you met?"
Every social group.
And it got to the point where I was getting nervous, like, "Oh my God, is he even gonna want to date me no more?" Because everybody keep asking him,
"Have you met so and so yet?"
And I'm like, "Oh God, like what is he thinking?" Like, because after a while, if someone kept asking you that, you have to wonder, what am I getting myself into? But thank God he understood.
And I'm like, oh, this is normal right here. This is all it is.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? This ain't too off the beaten path for me. So it was cool. And we can honestly say we love our in-laws.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think too, as a single woman, I had an issue with setting clear boundaries because up until I met Juan, my mom and my dad were my emergency contact.
Yeah.
They were the person I would vent to and talk to about everything. Like, everything. I talked to my mom about everything. So, to transition to being a wife where now all of my decisions are coming to Juan, he's my first point of contact on my emergency, form, or when something's happening. As an example, I had a surgery and my mom just wanted to care for me. You could see she just wanted to care for me. And it was like watching her relinquish mommy duties so that my husband could care for me. I could tell was difficult for her, but I also feel like in some ways I could tell she was relieved because it was like, I think she was starting to realize she's going to be okay. She's in good hands. She's going to be okay.
Yeah. So you got to meet them. Herman said it best. Look, let me do a bass drop. My favorite bass player. Let me do a bass drop for him, but he said meet them darn families.
But you got to. Even with families, I think it's important for you to understand that when you marry someone, that becomes your first family.
Yep.
And that even though your family may have been used to certain habits, certain traditions, you get to decide how you want to move forward in life. And that's when we talk about boundaries, because sometimes, families, exterior, they're like, wait a minute. You wasn't acting that way before, and it's like, who cares?
Yeah.
That's how we rolling now.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely meet them families, y'all, because that's important. And once again, it gives you insight as to how they're going to respond. One thing I found about families, last comment about families.
Oh, I got one more comment about families myself.
Oh, okay, cool. So when it comes to families, a lot of times when people, whether they recognize things they want to do different, we repeat our parents so much subconsciously because it's just been ingrained in us. We don't realize how much. It's kind of like the how systems are formed, right? It's a sort of programming in a way. And so seeing how a family interacts and how they act might give you some insight on when someone hits crisis mode or when someone is at a high stress level, people go back to their default settings. I've seen this plenty of times with men. They grow up Christian. They come from a conventional family dynamic. And even though they might have been that one wild bruh, even though they might be, Mr. Lovey-dovey out here in the streets, you know what I mean?
Wild oats, honey.
When they get married, they want to now resemble what they saw at home. They want a woman that somewhat resembles mom. They want their presence in their home to somewhat resemble dad. Whether it's functional or dysfunctional, people have a default setting of repeating what they saw. So seeing the parents give you some insight, and of course, there's the old adage: if you want to see how they're going to age, sometimes look at the parents. Now you got to also consider like health habits and all of that. But if you want to see if they're going to age well, they used to always say, look at the mother. You know what I'm saying?
But I also think too, you said they resemble what they see. So I think in our situation, your parents were married. My parents were married. That was important for us because we want to raise children in a 2-parent household. I think it's equally. I think both a father and a mother have an equal position in cultivating the raising of a child, like how a child is going to become as an adult, right? They have an equal position in how they are influencing their child. There we go. So that was important for me, and so the reason why I'm raising that is because you don't want to get with someone where all they got is mama. All they got is mama. So when mama say go, you gotta, because that can be dysfunctional, and that's where I leave it.
Yeah, no, or sometimes some girls all they got is daddy. Because think about it, daddy, you're his child, you're his dependent. Some man they may not want to take you on as a dependent. He may want you to be a partner. Okay, so how we relate to our mothers, men, and how we relate to our fathers, ladies, that's gonna be very different from how you relate to your mate. It's a different kind of intimacy that is involved in that. And you can't expect somebody to become your daddy, and you can't expect somebody to become your mama. I'll leave that one alone. We'll just keep it moving. So, and then also, now I know some of the we're coming up on our last ones. This one, some people may not agree with, but there's a way around it. I think it was beneficial to me and Katrina personally, but live with them for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a lease. It could be.
You don't have to move
Airbnb,
in, but yeah, you can Airbnb for a long period of time. You need to see how
that person lives and how they take care of bills. I'll give you an example. So it was on social media. Some woman said her friend met a guy. He checked off every single box, phenomenal, and her friend was like, well, "I didn't want to be with him because he had an old car." You're probably wondering, well, how does that relate to living with the person? Well, I think understanding how someone values finance, is important, and you can see that in a home setting because you'll see how they're buying, spending. Do they pay bills on time? Do they clean properly?
Yeah,
these are important things. If someone's not cleaning a bathroom or kitchen on a regular basis, you may not want to marry them.
Or something as simple as decorating, right? Some people like to hoard stuff and clutter, right? Some people like open, clean spaces. Those become big fights in marriages. For all my married people watching, and I know I got a couple of them, when y'all can't agree on something as simple as a couch, sometimes that could be a big thing. Or when someone can't get rid of that old vase, or when they can't get rid of that old mattress or that old dresser drawer, that becomes a problem in some relationships.
Or do they know how to share?
Oh yeah, like, oh no, that was my toothpaste. How dare you use my toothpaste? Or, I bought those drinks for me. I've heard of some relationships.
Or they tick for tack. That's crazy to me. Like, they tick for tack. Look, we in the same house. I ain't got time for all that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, there's some relationships out there where they'd be like, oh no, that was my
that was my food.
That was my food.
Yeah.
But ours? I thought everything that came in here is ours. So yeah, it could be an Airbnb. Maybe y'all live together. Maybe you decide to spend some time at their place for a week. They spend some time at your place for a week. However y'all work that out logistically. But I think it is important to spend some extended time living with them to catch those cues.
That's why I don't really believe in these shotgun weddings. And I know that it works for some people. But for me, I was not comfortable with no shotgun wedding. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Like, people, sometimes they get married for the wrong reasons. I get it. You had a baby together. But that ain't the reason to get married. Those don't last.
There's a comment here. Or they are the baby of the family and they take pieces of their older siblings, good or bad.
Oh, you know what? That's a good one. I didn't consider that. We talked about how you may take stuff from your parents, but older siblings can definitely have a impact.
Then Brent said,
shout out Diamond Cougar for that.
Yeah, gotta live with them. I was raised with a different belief, but because I forged my own path and got married late in life, I made my own decisions. Living together is extremely important. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
I think it's important to find a way to cohabitate before you guys marry. Right?
I don't believe in long distance either.
Yeah. Once again, there's too many things you can't see over the phone. Everybody on their best. Listen, when people are dating and going out, everybody on their best behavior. We see it in social media. Everybody balling. Everybody getting promoted. Everybody looks slim or light skinned or whatever you portray online. But then once we take that filter off and everything else you did, we see the real you.
Y'all see why?
I'm just saying that was a message for somebody today. And if it was you, don't get mad. Just say ouch. And correct yourself.
We have two more.
And this they kind of run together. And now I put an asterisk on this one because if you don't drink or if you don't smoke, you know, those kind of things, it may apply to you. But I think it was an important one. It was one that he mentioned. Let them see you inebriated, and you have to see them inebriated. Mm-hmm. Now, at first I was going to discard this one to be like, nah, but you know what? Some people are trying to go into professional careers. If the person you with is a lush or can't control their drinking or become some kind of an animal just because they had a little bit of cognac in your system, you need to know, and this might be one of those yellow flag situations. It might be like, okay, well, based off the way you drink, we can never drink publicly at an event because I don't need you getting carried out. Or I don't need you flirting and start grabbing on other women, or you start thrusting yourself on other men because you had a little alcohol in your system. You ain't going to be Jamie Foxx nice. You ain't going to blame it on the alcohol. You're going to learn how to act better. Or you may just realize that person has a problem with drinking. And that just might be a straight out red flag and say, you know what? Baby, you need to go get some NAA, something A. But you can't be around with me drinking because your drinking is out of control. Right? So I never really thought about that one. But in the society we lived in where drinking is prevalent, these days, you know, with marijuana and THC, you need to see how people respond to those things if they partake in it. Mm-hmm. If they don't do it, then obviously this is not one you have to worry about. But if they do partake in some smoking, if they do partake in some drinking, you need to see how they act when they drink. You need to see them at that state and realize, do I want to be married to this? Because that's important. So...
And one thing that he didn't say, I just want to say as the last one for me.
Go ahead, baby.
Finding someone that can be real with themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you can be real with yourself, that means you can be real with your partner, you can be real with everybody else. If you got somebody that really can't keep it real with themselves, meaning they're 100 pounds overweight, but they keep saying, oh, I'm still the same size. That's not okay.
No, boo.
You got somebody who lies and they can't admit it.
No.
That's a character flaw. So if you can't find someone who's real with themselves and you always feel like they're just gaslighting or dancing around issues, I don't know. You may want to reevaluate. That's a real yellow flag. Strong yellow heading towards red.
You know, start feeling a little like sunset orange. You know what I'm saying? After a while. So, yeah, you might want to really pay attention to that. So to go over all of them again, not in detail, things you need to consider before committing. Travel with them. Work with them on a project. Have them observe you doing something great. Observe them doing something great. Meet their friends. Have them meet your friends. Observe them in a crisis moment. Let them observe you in a crisis moment. Meet their family. Let them meet your family, right? Live with them for an extended period of time. And if you do this, here's the asterisk. Let them see you inebriated. You need to see them inebriated. And then the last one, are they real with themselves? All right. So look, that's the base of the show. Let's move on to some quick shout outs here. Don't forget, I am streaming on Twitch. Mr. L7, that's TNGS _Mr. L7. That is spelled Mr. the letter L, the number 7, and then EVEN. I'm out here doing work on this Modern Warfare, y'all. Check me out. I'm a monster. My crew, we go hard. Shout out to FAFO. I can't tell y'all what that means currently on this chat because we can't talk like that here. But mess around and find out. Shout out to FAFO, we FAFO, right? You see what we did there, the words? Shout out to all my Xbox brothers. Shout out to Chris who just got an Xbox, you know what I'm saying? We waiting to stream with you, bruh. Hit us up.
Lana's Chris?
No, you're Chris.
My brother Chris. Oh,
yeah. Shout out to Nate, Rich. They be on the stream sometime. We be funny. We be having a good time. It go down on the streams. Also, I told you I was going to do this all season. Shout out to the Washington Commanders. We didn't take an L, but we didn't get a win. We drawed against the New York Giants. Okay. I'll take that. I guess that's better than an L.
I didn't realize you can draw in football. There's no...
Because they changed the overtime rules. Okay. They don't do continuous overtime. What they do is they do one session of overtime. If both teams score or both teams don't score, I think it ends in overtime, basically. The Twins can tell you and get you right for sure in the chat.
Okay, interesting.
But yeah, so you can draw in football now. It won't just keep on going. I don't know if that's like a safety.
So then when they count in wins or losses, is that considered a win?
No, it's considered a draw. So for instance, the Washington Commanders are 7 we're 7-5-1
and
right
the
now.
one is the draw.
The one is the draw.
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay.
Also shout out to the Cleveland Browns. Y'all beat the Texans 27-14. Y'all 5-7.
Juan says the Cleveland Browns stats as though I'm interested.
I know she's not interested, but that's showing a little equal Cleveland love. DC.
I'll do the next one.
DC is what it's about.
I want to give a special shout out to Glenville High School for winning the state championship. If you know anything about Cleveland or Ohio State University, you would know that Glenville is a huge pipeline to OSU. And under the leadership of Ted Ginn Sr., his son is Ted Ginn Jr. in the NFL, Glenville has produced 28 individuals that have made it to the NFL.
Yeah, so definitely shout out to them. That's big.
It is big.
That's big for the city of Cleveland. Shout out to Glenville High School.
Oh, and they are the first inner city school from Cleveland to ever win a state championship.
Yeah, inner city basically almost meaning black too on top of that in a lot of ways, unfortunately. So, and then once again, 116 years, men of distinction. First of all, servants of all, they transcend all. Alpha Phi Alpha, 116 years. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Oh, 6. You know what I'm saying?
And Brent said, yeah, Glenville sending those kids to the league. It's big. It's huge.
Yeah. No, huge. So those are our shout outs. And then real quick, let me do a quick happy birthday for you guys. Mm-hmm. Our man Paul Thompson did this on the show. We do the birthday song before we announce the birthdays. You got some really cool birthdays today, too.
Well, this is a very cool birthday month, if I might not add.
Man, December kind of go hard, right?
Capricorn season is amongst...
Right now, it's like the first half is with Sag. And then
right now it's sad, but we are approaching Capricorn season. And there are a lot of cool Capricorns.
Oh, yeah, a lot of Capricorns in our family, too.
A lot of cool Capricorns.
But when we go over the birthdays, we want to do a special heavenly birthday to Marianne Thompson. She had passed about a month and a half ago. Mm-hmm. That's my great aunt, and she had one heck of a homegoing, may I add. But her birthday is December 1st, so we wanted to wish her a heavenly happy birthday. Also, happy birthday to my grandma. Her birthday was yesterday, 87 years old, Elizabeth Stroman. Right, so happy birthday, grandma. Also, want to shout out my homegirl, Tiffany McRae. Want to shout out the homie. You've seen him here on the Nitty Gritty Show. He's been featured a few times. He's moved from the area, so that's why y'all haven't seen his face in a while. But shout out to Stephen Powell. Great man, doing great things. Shout out to Eric Smith. Happy birthday, Eric Smith. He actually leads our marriage ministry at Kingdom Fellowship. The marriage ministry is back. It's so nice that people are back in person with each other, because the Zoom calls, man, it ain't the same feel. Shout out to frat brother AJ Wood, representing Canada Alphas. You know what I'm saying? I see you, brother. And then shout out to the homie RJ Haskins. Happy birthday. And now y'all know we like to celebrate love. And so we talked about dating today. We talked about things to do before you commit. But I wanted to say this, the Nitty Gritty Show, I know a lot of people always wonder, why do y'all always talk about, anniversaries and weddings on the show? I think it's important because I think marriages are being attacked in America. Mm-hmm. And there's a superficial reality attached to marriage now. And it's hard for people to stay together. And I think we should celebrate people who commit to each other and follow through on said commitment. So this is why we shout out weddings and marriages, and we like black love. If you know anybody that's going having an anniversary coming up, or if you want to share with us, let us know. I don't always see these on my timeline, so don't charge it to my head or to my heart. Just charge it to my head because maybe I didn't remember or I didn't see it to recognize it. But we want to, so message us so we can. But anyways, first one, shout out to Brenton Ashley Howard, 9 years. Shout out to Denny and Debbie Johnson, 7 years. This is a first fam couple, alpha AKA kind of thing going on. So shout out to them. Also, shout out to Frank and Vivian Wilds. Drum roll. 55 years.
Wow.
55 years. They got married in their mid-20s shortly after college. And they're celebrating 55 years of marriage. And they look good. If y'all can see the Wilds, you would be so... Man, I'm talking about... That's older than some of the people watching this right now. 55 years. That's amazing. Right?
Almost 6 decades.
Yeah. And they look so good. They look so good. And I'm pretty sure their life hasn't been without their challenges, but 55 years. Celebrate that. And then last but not least, we have Anthony and Tammy Price, 18 years. 18 years. You are still here. Let's clap it out of that. So like big shout out to our anniversaries. I love to hear it, love to see it. I don't remember if I did or not. Shout out to Mark Knowles, who just got engaged recently. I got a brother, I think, that just got engaged, but he never did send me the stuff. I don't want to put it out there until he's affirmatively told me.
Congrats to John and Chanel.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's another shout out. Congrats to John and Chanel Travers. They just had their son, their baby boy, right? So shout out to them. I think they had the baby at the end of November, right? Just before Thanksgiving, actually. Yeah. So yeah, so shout out to them. Celebration. Don't forget, guys, like the video. We need likes. We're trying to get our viewership up to like 100 people, so we need y'all sharing. Tell people about the Nitty Gritty Show. If y'all like the conversations, even if they're watching it on the back end, even if they're not here for the live, tell people about the show. The interaction will help grow it. We need to grow this thing so we can continue to do this thing. By the end of next year, we need to be at least 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, and we need regular watchers on these videos. So let's get it up. Don't forget, we're on Facebook at the Nitty Gritty Show 2017. We're on Instagram at the Nitty Gritty Show. You got to type in the whole thing like a Tribe Called Quest. We're on YouTube. If you're here, you see the Nitty Gritty Show. And then also, don't forget, we still have our online store through teamlocker.squadlocker.com. If you search the Nitty Gritty Show, you will see all the merch we have. We have stuff with Adidas.
Please purchase something before the end of the year.
Yeah. Like, please purchase it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all see it right here in the corner, right? If you don't want to buy anything, let's say you don't want a hat or you don't want a hoodie. Look, 50 cents. 50 cents a day. We'll take it. You can just hit our Cash App up. $1. It's the holiday season. $50. For y'all that got it, some of y'all some ballers. You know what I'm saying? Hit us up. Throw a little quick donation. We'll be happy to have it. Before the year is out, we'll do something fun with some games maybe online. I think there's a game that we might be able to play if the video shows right. Maybe like a trivia night, worst case scenario. And then we'll try to do some giveaways for Christmas. So tune in. Look, it's your boy J. DeCosta.
It's your girl Katniss.
And together we are the Nitty Gritty. Thank you guys for watching. We are out. We're out. Hit the outro video. We out.